Hey guys, it's Lily and welcome back to my channel.
It will never happen.
Recently, I've gotten a new hobby. I think it started in like November, December of reading. And I feel like a lot more people are getting into reading too. Or you want to get into it, but you're just like, bro, I don't know what to read. And I don't want to read no boring ancient stories. I got you. Also, I'm wearing some Made by Lily jewelry. I'm wearing the butterfly white jade necklace and go shop if you haven't already. Okay, the first book we're talking about, of course, y'all probably gonna be like, been heard this, probably been read this, but for the few who don't, It Ends With Us. I feel like that's a staple first starting book, especially for like romance. It's by Colleen Hoover. We love her. But it's a very good romantic book. But trigger warning, there is a lot of like abuse and... Hey! I'm making a...
What's up? Annie, and she have a lot of books, you see? A lot of books that have magazines.
Magazines?
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, I got a little interrupted. It Ends With Us. It's only a one-person point of view. I don't know if that's how you say it, but like it's only one person's like perspective. It's basically about this girl in Boston. She had some trouble with her past, especially with her father, and she had a like lover in the past, and he comes back in, and then she meets this other dude, and then this other thing happens, and I don't know. Honestly, this book, like, so much stuff happens. It's like I can't even explain it. Basically, all I have to say is go read it. I'll say one thing, you definitely probably will cry. I cried. And you really get like attached to the characters and can just really like imagine it. And I think that's like the best part about some books, especially just like you're reading it and you're just like, like, you know. Also guys, if you're buying books, buy them on Amazon. They're so much cheaper than going to like Barnes and Nobles or any other bookstores. Like, trust me, I bought in a book before that was like $18 in the store, and then I looked on Amazon and that thing was $10. I was like, I mean, I get the store has to make their profit obviously, but like save you some money and buy it on Amazon. The next book is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I actually have this one on hand. The other one I didn't have on hand because I'm letting my friend read it for like school and stuff, but I say this is by far one of my favorite books out of my whole collection, just because there's so much that happens, and it's not just all romantically, because I know a lot of the books I have are romance books, but it's basically this writer telling the story of this Hollywood star's life, and she was basically married 7 times. It goes through all her divorces, her love stories, stuff behind the scenes, stuff you would not expect to happen, the reason why she picked this random girl to write the story. Like, it's crazy. It's like a twist between like, it's almost like a mystery book and a romance and like lifestyle. I don't know the words really for like describing books, so like I probably sound so dumb to people who like read for like a living, but like 300 pages are definitely a good place to start for people who are just starting to get into reading, because if you start off with like an 800 book, I don't know. I personally say if you're just getting into it, definitely start off with like 300 to 400 pages. Okay, this next book is called Maybe Someday. I was actually not expecting to like it as much as I liked it, just because I was like, okay, is this gonna be like a corny freaking book? But it's not. First of all, it starts off with this girl's best friend cheating on her with her boyfriend, and I'm not spoiling it because in the back it literally says it. In the first page it literally says like cheater and stuff like that. But then there's this neighbor of hers, you know, that the boy next door vibe. That's what it's giving pretty much. And tension just happens, things happen. Y'all just also need to read this book. I feel like I mean every book I'm gonna tell y'all to read. There is one in here that I was like, oh, it was kind of hard for me to get through, but like at the end I liked it. But this was also by Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover honestly is like, I feel like one of the best romance novel writers. Like, her writing style is just, I'm Sydney, and it starts off with her like point of view, and then it switches off to Ridge's, and I love that. I love that because then you get both of their like perspectives, and also he's deaf, and like it's so good because the way they communicate is basically through their body language and texting and stuff, and it's so good. The next book, we're switching into some more we're steering away from romance because I don't want to just fill y'all with romance, because I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. But it's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I love this book. First of all, I was kind of, when I first read it, I was like, okay, I missed the romance. But then after you read it, it's like, wow. So it's basically about this high schooler. She's investigating a missing persons case that happened about 5 years ago, where the boyfriend was found guilty for killing the missing girl, but she believes that like he wasn't guilty. And it's just her uncovering a bunch of lies about their city, stuff that's happened in the past, stuff that's happened with someone who's super close to her and that she would never believe someone was capable of doing. And it's really good. There's also a sequel to it. It's called Good Girl Bad Blood, and I'm reading that right now. And it's basically her starting a podcast and solving another, or doing another investigation. But I love this. And there is a little tiny bit of romance, like a relationship sparks up, but it doesn't really go into detail. It's mostly her trying to solve the case. And what I love mostly about this book is it gives like cool things like this. Like, it's not just your basic like regular text. Like, it's not that the whole time. It gives like this is her capstone project, like her, like when she's interviewing people, like the responses. And it just like, it's a different type of vibe because this is also a different author. Her name's Holly Jackson, and I was mainly used to like the Colleen Hoover ones, but like it also shows like things from like Instagram and stuff, and just people replying. Like, I don't know, I just like how she added that in, and it's like you get to visualize it more. This next one is like a complete fairy tale. Like, it's like, this really happened? Like, this is like happened to like 1 out of like 30 billion people. I don't think there's that many people, but like it's just like, whoa. It's basically about this girl. She's a burn victim and she lives in LA, and she used to be like an actor until she got burned, and then she ends up meeting this guy, and November 9th is the day she got burned. So every November 9th they end up meeting up until she finds out something that's like super shocking, and like you probably wouldn't meet up with them again, but like I don't know, I'm not trying to spoil it or anything, but like honestly I really like it because this book gets straight to the point. Like, it doesn't like really say what happens between those years where they didn't meet every November 9th, because basically if you see, like, it starts off with the first November 9th, that was these pages, and then it goes to the second November 9th, and then once that November 9th is over, then it goes to the third November 9th until the very last November 9th. But I did cry reading this. And another thing is, it gives the two, what is that called? Let me look it up because I probably sound so dumb to y'all right now. What is it called? What is it called when a book has both people writing, people speaking, people's thoughts? I'm gonna say thoughts because I mean they're not really speaking. Okay, I'm gonna say it's a duo dialogue. Probably. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments because I don't really know, but it has the girls version it has the girls version and the guys version, and I really like that because you really get to think like, what were they thinking? So it has Ben's, and then her name is Fallon, and honestly I feel like they should definitely make this a movie because I feel like this is like one of those movies where it's like, I don't know how to really explain it. Like, I've never really heard or watched or read anything like this type of story. Like, it's not like your basic love story. Like, I don't know, it's just really like, you did what? Like, that's right. So yeah, I highly suggest this. And I know, so there's 2 characters in here that I guess go with another Colleen Hoover book. It's called Ugly Love, and it's about them. I haven't read it yet. I need to read it yet because how have I not read Ugly Love yet? Like, I don't know, y'all. I'm about to order it soon. But a lot of people say read Ugly Love first and then read this one. This next book is You Are a Bad. Basically, it's like a self-help book and also like an intention book. Like, one of the pages, it basically tells you how the stuff you say out into the world, like by saying there aren't any good men out there, I don't have to take responsibility for why I'm not meeting any. But then instead you change it to, the world is filled with awesome loving men and I'm fully capable of and so excited to find me a good one. So like, it basically shows you like the way you say things and the way you think is how you're gonna life is basically gonna turn out. Like, you're projecting that energy. I feel like I'm so bad at explaining things, and look, see, if I'm saying I feel like I'm so bad at explaining things, then I'm gonna be bad at explaining things. But then if I say I continue to progress in the way I'm explaining things, then yeah, y'all get the gist. I'm gonna just take a picture and put it on the screen so y'all can kind of see what I mean. I haven't really fully finished this book just because I'm more of like a fiction. I like fiction. I like an escape from reality. Now, we're gonna go with the first book I ever read last year. Like the books this is my first book I've read since I read in like middle school or elementary school. And like since I read Dork Diaries, like can we just take a moment and appreciate that era of like Dork Diaries? Like those were everything. Like I might buy that book set just to read it again because I love those books. Since the Junie B book, since all that stuff, this was the first book I read. I think I got it in August 2020, and it's The Wilder Girls. It's definitely like an adventurous mystery type book. There's not really any romance. The only romance is, there also is, I think 2 of the characters are lesbians. Basically about these group of girls who live on this, at first it was like a school for girls on this island, and then there ended up being this disease and people are getting infected, people dying, people infected with things. Like they're basically closed off from the real world, so all they have is each other, and they can't break quarantine, and they don't know what happens if they end up breaking quarantine. And then there's these 3 group of girls, and one of their friends ends up getting taken away, but the other girls are like, this is fishy, like where are y'all taking them? So then they go and try to explore and figure out where they are, and then they uncover a lot of secrets and stuff. And honestly, it was pretty good. It was really kind of slow for me at the beginning just because this was like my first time actually reading in like 4 years. But towards the end, it's like, I think a part 2 of this book is coming out because it didn't really end with like a full explanation. So I definitely think a part 2 is coming out, and I'm gonna buy it when it comes out. Okay, the next book, the final book before we get into a series of books, is One of Us is Lying. I kind of get this book confused with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. They're very similar, so if you end up getting one of these and you like it, I definitely suggest getting either or whatever one you didn't have before. It's basically about a group of students, and they all go to detention, and then this one student who has like this page that like basically has all the drama about everyone at the high school, he ends up dying in the room because there was like peanut oil in the water. So they're all investigated and trying to figure out who did it, and it's a mystery. And basically there's like okay, basically here it is. There's the brain, the beauty, the criminal, the athlete, and then the outcast. So there's all those different stereotypes, and you kind of get to like see how each one of those like stereotypes or labels, how they live their actual like life, not at high school, like at home. And you get to know them, and honestly you get kind of connected to the characters. Like I definitely got connected to Brownwyn. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but I really got connected to Brownwyn and Nate. I feel like, I don't know, I really love their characters. I kind of predicted what was gonna happen, so I wasn't really shocked when I read it, but I just really deeply think about things, so that's probably why I predicted it. But I don't know, I really liked it. And this book I think was only, this book was 350 pages, so it's definitely a good first read. Also, there is some trigger warnings with like suicide and self-harm and drug abuse, so just an FYI. Definitely this book and The Good Girl's Guide to Murder makes me want to get into like law and like criminal justice and stuff, but then I'm like, Lily, it's just a book. It's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna be the same in real life. Okay, the final series that we're gonna be talking about is the After series. Yes, I saved it for last because first of all, I don't know if this is best for like a first time reader. I feel like read a couple books and then get into this, just because these books are really hefty and long. This book right here was 818 pages. Okay, I feel like if you're a teenager, you've probably watched the After series on Netflix. I think there's 3 movies out and there's 5 books. I think the next movie is coming out sometime November, and I'm so excited because I finished the series, so like I know what happens, but like I just love to see how the movie represents things. Definitely this book is way better than the movies. way better. Like, there's so much stuff that the movie doesn't show that this shows, and you're like, that's why Hardin is the way he is. Like, and it makes you like feel for Hardin, but also like Hardin's a little like and then I feel like honestly this book kind of made me not like Tessa. I liked Hardin more than Tessa in these books, and it's kind of, I mean, I like them both, but like this book's definitely made me like Hardin more than Tessa. And I like these books because it shows, okay, so there's, first of all, there's the after, and then there's the after we collided, then there's after we fell, and then after ever happy, and then there's before. And before basically shows like how Hardin grew up in his past life, and then before also shows all the perspectives of everyone else in their life. So if you've watched the movies, you know there's like Landon, or and like Hardin's dad, Hardin's mom, Tessa's mom, Noah, her boyfriend. It shows them like speaking, and then bruh, in the movies it's just about Hardin and Tessa, right? In the books there's a whole love triangle between Tessa and Hardin and this other character. Like, that should already tell y'all need to go read this book. Like, it's really mind-blowing. And you would think the books would be kind of repetitive, but when I tell you I finished this whole series in a week, I did. So I read about 2,000 pages in a week. That should tell you something because it was just that good. Okay, so those are all the books up there that I suggested for you guys to read and showed you. I'm sorry if I kind of did a bad job at explaining some things, but honestly, if you guys really want to get into reading, I highly suggest it. And I really suggest getting into nonfiction first, just because it brings you in like another realm, like especially if you want to escape from reality. Like, it's perfect. And I know most of them are like romance. I'm trying to branch out into other things, like how I did the mystery and adventure and stuff like that, but romance books are just top tier. Like, who would want to read a romance book? I'm sorry, I'm your typical teenager wanting to read the Wattpad. Oh, that's another thing I forgot to talk about. A lot of these books go into detail. That's pretty much all the books I wanted to show you guys. If you have any recommendations for me, please let me know in the comments. Like, I need book recommendations, or like any other things you guys have to say about the books. Please let me know, and let me know if you buy any of these. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and bye.